It's been over half a century since humans have ventured out toward the moon. Well, that's all changing. We're talking about Artemis II, a 10-day, super high-stakes test flight. This isn't a landing just yet, but it's arguably even more important. It's all about proving whether our brand new spacecraft, Orion, and its crew are really ready for what's coming next. So, let's break down this incredible journey. Okay, picture this. Just 5 minutes after a thunderous launch, Earth is shrinking to a blue marble in the window. And Commander Reed Wiseman says this. It's such a simple, powerful line, but it captures everything. 4 pioneers in a totally new spaceship aimed right at our cosmic neighbor. So think of Artemis II as the big kickoff for NASA's return to the lunar surface. It's all about putting the hardware, the plans, and the people to the test. This mission is really the final dress rehearsal, ushering in a whole new era of exploration. And wow, what a crew they've put together for it.
Every mission patch tells a story, and this one is no different. It literally maps out the whole adventure. You've got the blue Earth, you follow that red trajectory all the way out, swooping around the silver moon, and right there on the border are the names of the 4 astronauts who are taking us on this ride: Wiseman, Glover, Koch, and Hansen.
This crew, this is a huge deal. It represents a massive step forward in who gets to go to deep space. This is the most diverse crew ever to fly to the moon. We've got Christina Koch, the first woman, Victor Glover, the first person of color, and Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency, who becomes the very first non-American to make this journey. This isn't just one country's mission anymore. It's for all of us.
All right, so this right here, this is the game plan. This map lays out the whole 10-day flight. You can see the first few orbits around Earth. That's for checking all the systems. Then there's the big push out to the moon, that beautiful loop around the far side, and then the blazing fast return for splashdown. Let's dig in, starting with those critical first 24 hours.
Before you take a brand new car on a massive cross-country road trip, what do? You drive it around the block, right? Well, that's exactly what the first day of Artemis II is all about. You stick close to home and you make absolutely sure every single system on that Orion spacecraft is good to go. And this is where space travel gets, really real, really fast. One of the first problems the crew and mission control had to solve wasn't some complex engine failure, it was a blinking light on the toilet. It's actually a great reminder that even on these incredibly advanced missions, success often boils down to solving basic and sometimes very human problems.
So, with the plumbing issues sorted out, the crew got to do some real flying. They actually took manual control of Orion, like with a joystick, and flew it near the rocket's big, discarded upper stage. They were practicing the super precise handling skills they're going to need for docking with a lunar lander on future missions. Okay, to get to the moon, you can't just point and shoot. First, you have to be in the perfect orbit around Earth. Think of it like a train needing to switch to the right track. This perigee raise burn was a very specific engine firing that did exactly that. It lifted the lowest part of Orion's orbit, putting it on the perfect track to head for the moon.
And get this, it didn't take long at all. A precise 43-second blast from the main engine was all it took. In space, every second counts. And this short, powerful burn put Orion exactly where it needed to be for the next and much, much bigger step.
All right, all the system checks are done. The spacecraft is on the right track. Now it's time for the big one, the point of no return. The next engine burn is the one that's going to send Orion and its crew flying out of Earth's grasp on an irreversible path straight to the moon.
Can you just imagine being the flight director who has to give the final go for this burn? This is the ultimate commitment. Once that engine lights up, there's no turning back. For a quick fix, the crew is officially on their way. The maneuver is called the Translunar Injection, or TLI for short. This is it. This is the big one. This engine burn slams the accelerator, pushing the spacecraft to over 24,000 miles per hour, fast enough to finally break free from Earth's gravity. From here on out, it's a 4-day coast to the moon. So after 4 long days crossing that void, the crew finally reaches their destination. Now, they're not landing, but what they are doing is performing this absolutely breathtaking high-speed flyby. They'll travel farther from Earth than any human has since the last Apollo mission way back in 1972. And this is their home for 10 days, the Orion spacecraft. As it zips around the moon, it's actually using a free return trajectory. Basically, that means gravity is doing most of the heavy lifting, pulling the capsule around the moon and then slinging it right back on a perfect path toward home. At its closest, Orion is going to skim just over 6,500 kilometers above the lunar surface. That is plenty close enough to see the craters and the mountains in incredible detail. a view that, until now, only the Apollo astronauts have ever seen with their own eyes. You know the saying, "What goes up must come down"? But when you're coming back from the moon, coming down is the most dangerous part of the whole shebang. We're talking about a fiery, high-stakes plunge back to Earth.
25,000 miles per hour. That's the speed Orion smacks into the top of our atmosphere. The friction creates an insane amount of heat, wrapping the capsule in plasma that reaches almost 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat shield has to work absolutely perfectly.
The second Orion splashes down in the Pacific, a highly trained NASA and U.S. Navy team just springs into action. First, they do what they call a sniff test, checking for any dangerous chemical leaks. Then they pop the hatch, help the crew out onto this little inflatable raft, and then a helicopter hoists them to safety on a nearby ship. It's a dance they've practiced over and over and over again.
And this quote from the head of that recovery team, it just says it all, doesn't it? It's this powerful promise that speaks to the incredible dedication and teamwork it takes to bring these astronauts home safely. It's not just about the 4 people in space, it's about the huge team on the ground making sure they get back.
And the cool part is, you don't have to just read about all this, you can actually follow along in real time. NASA's website, called ARO, lets you track Orion's exact speed and position. And the official NASA app even has this awesome augmented reality feature, so you can literally point your phone at the sky and see where the spacecraft is. So at the end of the day, Artemis II is the final dress rehearsal. It proves the technology works, it paves the way for us to go back and build a real, long-term presence on the moon. And that just leaves us with this huge, fascinating question. If this is what we can accomplish on a test flight, what are we going to discover when we finally go back to stay?